At a certain point, if you got a giant Kappa face over your shoulder and no one's telling them to go away, like, I feel like I have to acknowledge that this is happening because the audience is experiencing it.
It's time for my last interview of the event here at the Fillmore Miami for NALCS Spring Finals 2018, with coverage presented by OmniSlash. I'm joined right now by Dash, who may or may not take over this interview and start asking me questions, given my
Always a possibility.
given my past experiences with them. Dash, what was this weekend like for you?
Honestly, it was an incredible weekend, which is weird to say given that both series were 3-0s, right? I think most people would look at those score lines and they're going to be like, oh, that must have been one of the most uninteresting finals weekends that you've ever seen. But I think that the teams in some ways completely flipped the idea of how League of Legends is currently played on its head and gave us just such an incredible showing. And as Azale said on the desk, to some degree, the scorelines did not reflect the closeness or the excitement level of the series as a whole. On top of the fact that this venue, freaking incredible. I know there was some criticism for how small it was. I love that intimate feel. I love being connected to the audience, being on the floor like we were, hearing the crowd roar, seeing the fan signs and the support. I mean, the incredible amount of both Team Liquid and 100 Thieves signs that we saw today. I had a blast. I'm excited to go party tonight in Miami and then headed home.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the match today against 100 Thieves. What do you think? And I know, much like me, you're not the guy that's going to dive into the statistics themselves. But
No.
what for the narrative? What do you think of 100 Thieves coming in here and just as the matches and games were exciting, still going 0-3 against Team Liquid?
I mean, I think it's going to sting a bit. It's definitely going to sting if you're on that squad, and simply because in 2 out of 3 games, they were positioned to win, right? You look at game 1, huge Baron steal by Xmithy steals the game back. You look at game 3, they're completely trashing Impact in the top. They're set up to win. They just can't quite capitalize where they need to capitalize. And then that's where the credit has to be given to Team Liquid for what they did as a squad, right? As a 5-man squad to be able to come back and fight through that adversity and rise to the top, that's incredible. But back to your point on 100 Thieves, for a new organization, yes, with plenty of veterans on it, but for an entirely new organization to not only come in and perform to the level that they did, where they finished regular season first seed, they finished playoffs in second, but to also just build the brand that they have, man. Again, like, that's why I said there were signs for both teams. There were not just signs for Team Liquid in this crowd. There were just as many for 100 Thieves, and this is a team. So you're looking at, like, how many years has Team Liquid been around? Cursed to Team Liquid? You're like, 5 to 8 to 10 to, like, whatever, right? And then you got 100 Thieves as a League of Legends brand, one split. And they are crushing it in terms of brand. So I think they should absolutely hold their heads high. It is going to sting a little bit because of that 3-0, but we will remember. We will remember that they put up a fighting chance.
Well, you mentioned fan signs. It's very funny. You probably don't know this. Do you know who Hungry Box is from Team Liquid?
Oh, I do know, and I did catch it out of the corner of my eye. So this was during the A block, right? Corner of my eye, I'm like talking over to like Jad or something like that. I see somebody run up to the ropes, and then I see a white shirt come from the side and like almost tackle him out of the way. Love that he loves his team that much. Glad that the security guards are doing their jobs.
For those of you that missed, maybe the best smasher in Melee for the past couple of years, Hungry Box Team Liquid coming by with a giant double lift head just waving in the background of the analyst. Does that stuff tilt you at all? Like whenever you see like the fan signs in the back or there's some distraction? What's always interesting to me is like Ovly was doing a very serious interview on stage yesterday, and somebody holds up a sign, and the whole crowd starts laughing, but she has no idea why they're laughing. Yes, yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say it tilts me, but what I will say is that when I do catch it, when I see it, immediately, like, in my head, I'm going, do I reference it? How do I deal with it? If it stays there for a minute, what do I say? Because at a certain point, if you got a giant Kappa face over your shoulder and no one's telling them to go away, like, I feel like I have to acknowledge that this is happening because the audience is experiencing it. As you say, I don't find it tilting. Again, I love the passion that our fans bring, and I want them to look for outlets, of course, safe outlets, right? That's the important thing to note here, and that's why the security is in place. But at the end of the day, no, it doesn't bother me at all. I love the fandom. I love when people are hanging around at the end of the day. The fact that there are that many people around for the interview, you could just as easily leave as soon as the series is over. But because there are people in the audience holding up signs while Ovely's doing her interviews, I think that just shows the closeness of our community and how esports, gamers, to competitors interact, and like kind of that tight-knit group and that emotional connection that we have to each other because of the shared love.
Well, North America has on to MSI. Because this is an interview that'll stay on YouTube for who knows, decades, centuries, I get to ask you, is North America going to do well, Dash? Is this going to work out?
Are they going to get first? Like Smithy said, they have a good chance of getting with SKT out. I don't think so. But I will say that I really do believe, and Jad will say, well, we say it every year, but I really do believe that we are sending one of the best iterations of a North American team that we have ever sent. And I think that's proven by 2 comeback games, but still in what seemed like a dominant 3-0 victory. You saw the teamwork. Yeah. It wasn't, and as much as people memed about the paid by Steve, and great, you got 5 individually great players. Well, what happens when those 5 individually great players actually start gelling as a squad? And that's what we're starting to see, is a Team Liquid roster that's coming to full fruition and working as well-oiled machine. Yeah. So maybe second.
Okay.
I'm not going to go so far as to say first.
Well, I mean, we've done it before. We got second before, so we'll see if we can pull it off together. What's next for you? I mean, Germany is just around the corner, right?
Yeah, I don't know if we've made the MSI announcements, so you'll have to wait on bated breath to find out who's actually going to be attending from the casting team. But quite obviously, we got the finals party tonight. That'll be fun, and then we head back to LA, and a lot of it is about re-gearing. For me, my next couple weeks are going to be spent glued to a television watching VODs of every MSI team that's qualified, because I simply don't have the bandwidth to do that throughout the season. So now I'm going to go into a dark room, hole up, and just watch like 10 hours of VODs a day and take notes and get prepped so that I can effectively do my job when I'm maybe not there.
Okay. Well, that's very smooth. That was not a trick question. You started off.
Tricked myself.
You're on your own mind here. Yes. So I can get prepped to do something that could include a tournament in the future. Yep. Very smooth.
Miami Finals was the last time anyone said. Dark Dash is actually going to be who's. He'll be taking my place from this point onward.
Is there anything that you would like to say to any of the fans out there?
I mean, I say it every time, but just the most sincere thank you I possibly can. Again, to all the people who made it out, to all of those who couldn't. The reason why I love my job is because of the fact that I get to interface with you, because of the fact that I get to share my love of this game, my love of competition and sport with you guys. So just keep it coming. Keep the passion coming, man. I live and breathe because of that. So thank you so much for it.
Well, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you, man.
For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Listen, Road and I forgot to film the outros this weekend. We were going to do it at the venue. And now we're doing it on the way to the airport. So thank you so much to OmniSlash for sponsoring our coverage and flight and the Uber and everything else on the way out here. They really made it possible. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe here for more videos.